Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to my latest video. If you are new here, I like to make these little videos about things I enjoy, mainly about film, but occasionally other topics. Just depends on what's going on. Just like to make these videos about things that I want to share. But before we begin and dive into the most recent of these recommendations/reviews of mine, if you enjoy this content, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing and hitting that little bell icon so you get notifications for when I put up new content, which is once or twice a week, though I am trying to put more stuff out there. Check out my back catalog while you're here as well. I got a lot of content out there, and stick around to the end as well. And, finally, share this video and channel around, as all that stuff really does help out quite a lot. Now that that's out of the way, this latest entry is for the 1989 film The Burbs, starring Tom Hanks, Bruce Dern, Carrie Fisher, and Corey Feldman. It is directed by Joe Dante of Gremlins, The Howling, Explorers, and Inner Space fame leading up to this film. And the synopsis for this film is as follows. An overstressed suburbanite and his neighbors are convinced that the new family on the block is part of a murderous, satanic cult. So we get a touch of that kind of rear window kind of aspect here, which comes up in another video for another film that I'm planning to do as well. But the comedy lies in kind of those jumping to conclusions, imagining the worst, and this obsession that this whole obsession around this new family that's moved in, thinking that they're up to no good. Now, rumors around the neighborhood in this movie are kind of spawning from anyone making their best guesses, since this house looks quite unkempt and creepy, and nobody has seen any of the members of this family yet. So of course, when all this starts out, it's just speculation, by some of the neighbors, until one of them starts kind of reading into it a bit too much and drawing all these conclusions, building upon that speculation more and more while dragging Tom Hanks' character right down with him. So on top of that, we have this neighborhood kid, a teenager played by Corey Feldman, who is kind of egging them on so he can see how far they will go. As he's seen in this neighborhood of his, this street in particular, he has some quite entertaining events transpire, given how some of these neighbors, just how they conduct themselves in general. So he's even to the point of inviting friends over to watch what unfolds at night. Literally just putting out some patio chairs and eventually getting more and more people to hang out and see what the neighbors are up to. And lastly, we also have this neighbor played by Bruce Dern, who is a Vietnam vet who's always on the ready for action. He's armed and in some sort of military attire. So when there's a hint of something fishy going on, despite some of his feelings that he's voiced about Feldman's character or any of the other people living on that street, he feels the need to kind of put himself in the middle of it, get involved in like full military fashion. All of this transpires as well while Tom Hanks' character is supposed to be on vacation for a week, take a break from work, spend time with the family, go up to the lake, all this kind of stuff. So he's at home with his wife, played by Carrie Fisher, but she is trying to kind of keep him under control and not let him get too caught up in that speculation and everything going on in the neighborhood. But as the film moves on, she fails at that. He just gets too obsessed. He's got the neighbors kind of coming at him about this as well, saying, something's got to be going on. He's even gotten to the point where he's starting to have these strange nightmares about what might be going on next door, about what's happening with, this satanic cult that he's basically just come to believe is there. But finally, she wants to put an end to this, so her and the wife of another character, the one played by Bruce Dern, these two wives basically decide to take charge, get the guys over and say, let's just go next door, bring some brownies and chat, and to introduce themselves, kind of forcing their way in there. But unfortunately, this does backfire because there are some findings while the family is there. Tom Hanks' character basically comes across some stuff that he feels there is indeed something going on here. And with two of his other neighbors, he kind of hatches this plan to get inside the house while the family's out of town to uncover what's going on and have some evidence behind it. So this one is it's a bit twisted and dark in some ways, but not too much. At its heart, it's a comedy, just through and through. It's there for the laughs more than anything else. However, when I first saw it, I'm not sure really what I was expecting, because I'd seen much of Tom Hanks leading up to this. I'd seen Bosom Buddies, Splash, Bachelor Party, Volunteers, Money Pit, Nothing in Common. So I even had some of the dramas in there, Dragnet, Big, Punchline. I'd seen all those movies leading up to this and was a fan, but I had never seen him in a role or in a film like this. A role where in many situations, his character is just not doing that well. He's not coming across that great. He's got that dark obsession. And not to mention the overall darker theme of the film. Again, it's not too dark. It is, at its heart, more of a comedy than anything else. But it's so very different from what I'd seen him do before. And, toward the ending, there's also this bit of a twist, where it makes you assume one thing about where it's going with the ending, and then they kind of twist it right at the end for something else. So initially, I left the theater not really thinking I enjoyed this movie that much. Until it came on cable. Just like nowadays when things hit streaming, sometimes they get a second life. On cable it did for me because they gave it another shot with different expectations in mind. And I really took to it. I still quote it to this day, as a matter of fact, and which is why I'm making this video, to recommend that you check it out. So if you want to give this one a try, it is, at the time of this video, currently available on Peacock, as it is a film by Universal and will likely stay in their library since Peacock is an NBC Universal service. Anyways, The Burbs, check it out. It's a lot of fun. And speaking of checking out, thanks for checking out this video and for sticking around to the end, as well as all the other YouTube stuff I mentioned earlier, really does help a lot. Hitting that subscribe button, hitting that bell, watching to the end, sharing this stuff around. It really does help out, and I'm trying to put some more frequent videos out there. I'm still reaching for success in hitting 3 videos a week consistently, but I'm working on it. Sometimes life just gets in the way. Anyways, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for sticking around to the end and watching this one, and I will see you in the next one.